Rob Schenck here, your missionary to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Of course, again, far from home. I'm in Tampa, Florida, where I've been attending the Republican National Convention, which is occurring in that convention hall behind me all this week. And what a week it has been. Of course, all the festivities have been just tempered a bit because we're all conscious of what our friends and our fellow Americans are going through in the northern Gulf Coast region, especially New Orleans, with the arrival of Hurricane Isaac and now Tropical Storm Isaac. And boy, they have really taken a pummeling. In fact, I got some emails and some texts from them just last night. They were asking for our prayers and to join our faith with theirs because they've taken a big hit again. So all of us are very conscious of that. In fact, it's been mentioned from the stage here several times. It has preoccupied my thoughts. And of course, we have been praying continuously for them, and I hope you will be too. When it's all over, I may be suggesting to you some practical ways that we may assist in the aftermath of that storm. But in the meantime, it has been eventful here nonetheless, and last night especially because, of course, not only was it the speech by the vice presidential nominee, Paul Ryan, but I had the opportunity to actually be on the floor of the convention, which puts you right in the center of the action, and only because of the gracious hospitality of a senior statesman in the United States Senate, Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, who has been a great friend and a mentor to me in so many ways. In fact, I shock a lot of my Baptist and Pentecostal friends, especially when I tell them I have spent more time talking Bible with Senator Hatch and more time on my knees praying with the senator than I have with any other member of the United States Congress, House, or Senate. And that's very shocking to them because many people know he is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, just like Governor Mitt Romney is. And yet we have had this amazing exchange and friendship that I hope has been mutually edifying. It certainly has been for me. And he was so wonderful last night, inviting me to the floor, seating me next to him as his special guest. And I have to tell you, he could have had anyone sitting next to him. He is admired and respected by both sides of the aisle. He's been around a long time, and he could have had anyone he wanted next to him, and he insisted that I be his guest, seated next to him during the entirety of the evening. And what an evening it was. In fact, even before I entered the hall, and took my seat next to the senator, I had already had an opportunity to chat with Rick Santorum outside in the hallway, and I thanked him for being the conscience of the convention. I've known Senator Santorum for some time, worked with him on a number of occasions on different projects, have an enormous respect for him, and particularly for his devotion to Christ and to his family. He's a very mature Christian man, and so we had a very nice exchange. And then I go over, I got to tell you, go to the restroom. And as I'm entering the restroom, who am I entering with but Rudy Giuliani? It just made a mundane experience a little more interesting in the chat that we had before we got inside. But anyway, it's just an endless parade here. In fact, while I was seated with the senator on the floor anticipating Congressman, now vice presidential nominee Paul Ryan's speech, Mia Love came and sat down next to us with her husband. She is the rising star in the Republican Party, very sharp young woman, mother of three, very dedicated to public service. She is a congressional candidate from Utah, and she and her husband came and sat down. You may have seen her, very sharp, brilliant, articulate, dynamic, almost electrifying black woman from Utah. Actually, she's originally from Connecticut, where I used to spend my summers. So we had that Northeast thing in common. But anyway, a very nice conversation with Mia and her husband. And then, how many other people came up to us during the course of the evening, mostly because the senator was seated there. But to just chat with these people is to really get the pulse of politics, at least Republican politics in America. And of course, tonight is the crescendo, the finale, when the nominee, Mitt Romney, takes the stage and gives his acceptance speech. I'm anticipating that because I'm very impressed with Mitt Romney. And I don't have to tell you by now, I'm not neutral in this. I endorsed Governor Romney very early on, and I did that for a number of reasons. One is I saw how he conducted himself privately with his family. Very impressive, loving, devoted man to his family. I saw it up close and personal myself. I saw him in his business mode, and he is an enormously capable executive and business leader and has a brilliant mind for economics and finances. So, if anything should qualify him for the times we're living in, it's those things alone. But even more so, he's a very humble man, and I watched how he ran a campaign. Very respectful and considerate of the people who work for him and with him in this campaign, but just the way he runs it with such excellence and precision, a very disciplined individual. Well, that's what we need at this time in our nation's life. So that's why I'm going to vote for him. Now, you may be supporting somebody else. If you do, I respect that entirely. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm telling you who I'm voting for and why. So I'm very much anticipating his speech tonight. I'll be back in the convention hall, of course, for this evening's proceedings, but in the day hours as well, doing a number of things, but most importantly, back in that prayer room where I've been spending a lot of time, and I will be in that same kind of prayer room in Charlotte next week. But because this is the finale, I won't be back with you with a video for this part of it, but I will be back starting Monday with video reports from Charlotte and the Democratic National Convention, where I want to give you my impressions of what's happening there, and most importantly, pray for everybody involved in that, including the president and the vice president, and praying for the party, the Democratic Party. A little whisper, I grew up in the Democratic Party, so I have a great concern for its trajectory. And I'll be praying about that, and I'll be bringing you reports. So for now, I've run out of time, but thanks for staying with me through this week. God bless.